So that kind of becomes, I think, the first problem is I think this is a way to almost backdoor the reintroduction of requiring in-client letters. A practice that was definitely used ad nauseum by the Trump administration to deny cases because let's work backwards from this. If you can't provide the in-client letter to show that the position requires a degree within a specific specialty, then they can deny your case saying they can't establish specialty occupation. So that's one issue that I look at and say that could be problematic. Let's say you even do get the client letter and you provide it to them. USCIS is adjudicating the case and they look at it and say, well, this says it requires a position in X, but I used my favorite tool as an officer, Google, and I went on Google and I looked at the company and I looked at job postings for the company. And the job postings for the company online don't say that this position requires a degree in X. It just says it requires a degree. Well, now they're going to issue a request for evidence and say, well, we can't tell if they actually have a position that's required in the specific specialty. Then you're getting into a fight between them with like, okay, just because you saw something online doesn't mean that it takes away from the evidence that we presented to you. All I'm saying in this is what I don't like about that is you're opening up the door for evidence that has to now be provided that previously wasn't necessary. Because it, in my opinion, is kind of outside of the scope of what should be asked for in terms of who makes the decision on whether or not this person's position qualifies. And that, I think, will probably lead to some bad adjudications. And unfortunately, we'll have to wait and see how that is dealt with because you're going to have to look at what the officer's decision making is. The benefit, obviously, is that they have to at least issue a request for evidence. But even so, that's not something that I saw that I was a big fan of. And I do think that it could be problematic for employers, any employer that's doing third-party placement.